So I've learned that Bangalore is a beautiful city, and this is my first visit to Bangalore, except that it has a traffic problem and it has a very famous young member of parliament who says all kinds of things, which I don't like or disagree with. So uh, uh, it's possible that in a vast and complex country like ours, lynching might have happened prior to a Clark case and all of it. But there is a significant difference, which is that you never saw lawmakers garlanding the perpetrators. Well educated, coming from very distinguished family, doing all of that part of it. The sort of state legitimacy, state complicity, and after that, even the way it had happened, that's, in that sense, the pattern is significantly different under the Mujibur regime and what was happening prior to that. Not that I'm condoning what happened to it. Now coming to, I'll just briefly lay out the major contours of the argument. Indian Muslims, as all of us know, are fairly a significant number, which is, in my assessment, extrapolation would be roughly around 240 million or so. Although in my book I said about 200 million, which is more than the population of Great Britain and Germany, France or Germany, or Egypt, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, all 3-4 major Muslim countries you put together, the number would be still less than what Indian Muslims are. Now imagine for a second that India was undivided. What would have been the population of Muslims today? In my calculation, which is the Muslim population of Pakistan, Muslim population of Bangladesh, then Muslim population in diaspora, if you put all of them together, it would be roughly around or close to 750 million or so, or 7 million, anywhere around that. So think of a united India and imagine what could have been the politics of this country. With 800 plus million of Hindus and 700 around Muslims, the story would have been vastly different. The point I want to make is this, that Muslim community is the most prominent victim of partition today, about it, and they are, taking the blame for that part of it. In India, and all the discussions that has been going on in this country concerning Muslims, it looks at Muslims as a religious minority for obvious reason, that its number is roughly around 15% or so. I have a rather strong disagreement from that analysis. So everything that is happening in India today is being presented as acts of minority violation. They are the evidences of minority violation. Considering the fact that almost every aspect of Muslim life is subjected to scrutiny by the state, by other organizations which are part of state, including media, in such an aggressive, systematic manner, what they eat, how they dress, azan, kabristan, to almost everything, to Waqf land, almost everything, and the mosque and temple and all these things that we hear about. So I argue what is unfolding in India is indeed not the violation of minority rights. It is a concerted effort for what I call the de-Islamization process. Muslim no more, Islam no more. That seems to be driving the politics of this ideological warfare that we are experiencing today in this country. Some of the evidences are very prominent, and all of you know that. For instance, exclusion of Muslims from Citizenship Act, all of that about it. So that's where my analysis is different from others. The second point I wanted to make is this: the book exclusively focuses on, not on future, but on political future of Indian Muslims. And I draw a sharp distinction between the two. And this is something that a lot of commentators or reviewers often fail to recognize. What is the difference? Concerns of future of Indian Muslims has always been there, and there are a lot of important works on this particular subject. Say a book by S. Abid Hussain called The Destiny of Indian Muslims, or other scholars like Rafiq Zakaria, What Went Wrong with Muslims, or Musirul Hassan. A lot of other people have written about it directly or indirectly. Even the backwardness question, which is systematically analyzed, particularly after Sachar report, also indirectly addresses the economic future of the country, Muslim community. That's what it is about it. So I try to argue that there is economic future, there is cultural future, there is political future. It is the political future which is very central and preeminent, because all the concerns that you have concerning economic future and cultural future becomes inconsequential if your political future is not ensured. That is the theoretical argument I've tried to argue. So what do I mean by political future? I mean the place of Muslims in Indian polity, right, in terms of rights, where they stand. A couple of years ago, Mohan Bhagwat, the chief of RSS, organized a 3-day meeting in which diplomats from 60 countries were invited primarily to explain the primary goals and objectives and vision of RSS for India, and why RSS should not be compared with other organizations such as ISI and others. Because Rahul Gandhi, who on a tour to Europe on one of those rare occasions said some things saying comparing ISI with RSS, and this was an attempt to clarify that. During those discussions, Mr. Bhagwat said, some journalist asked the question, what about Muslims? Do they have a place? So he said, Hindutva has a place for Muslims, and Muslims have a place in Hindutva polity. The question is that it is not important just to say that Muslims have a place in Hindutva polity, because Dalits have been the part of Indian society for years. They always had a place. The real question is what kind of place that they have in the polity. Are they equal? Do they deserve or are treated with the same dignity that the others are a part of it? So that's the central question that I try to elaborate on. So I have a chapter which I have titled deliberately which again a lot of commentators often missed it, called Right to Have Rights, drawing a phrase from Hannah Arendt's work. So basically the book argues that Muslims are equal and they deserve equal rights. Now, just because that there was a Pakistan, just because there is XYZ terror and XYZ things are happening, so the entire community should not be pushed aside and said, you should not have any rights because you are so bad or you're so dangerous and all of it. So the whole project of demonization that we hear about in different languages is essentially an attempt, in my view, to build an ecosystem where people will begin to say, oh, these are all such awful people. Why should they have rights? So let them die. About of it, So that's what it is about of it. So I try to make a case for equality, and that's what I think almost all Muslims aspire for. That if there is a law, let that law be equal for others as well as for us. If there is bulldozing of houses, let that be for all of them, not just for one community or for Muslims in this country. About of it. Historically, I'll just conclude. We are as a country, in fact, which is most of us would agree that that's not an adequate concept to explain or describe a society like ours. It's a continent, it's vast. It's a civilization. So historically, if we will think deeply, there is one thing that this civilization has always struggled to achieve, which is equality. Equality between gender, equality between castes, and equality between religion. So Muslim question that we come across today is a reflection of that particular struggle. So for the first time in 1947, we had this wonderful constitution, the first significant document that we had where equality was promised. Prior to that, there is no evidence of any document where everyone is being argued or respected or given equal status. So there is a paradigm shift that we are witnessing today with respect to that, which is what, basically, the entire narrative is in and around that, a part of it. So you must have come across a slogan made by one famous chief minister of our country, "Batoge to katoge," which was used in a slightly different way in Maharashtra elections by various prominent leaders. If you think deeply, what does it mean? Right? It appears to be a very, very divisive slogan. It is a very divisive slogan, although it appeals for fraternity. But in its appeal for fraternity, does it address the question of equality? Is it saying that the Thakurs and Dalits are equal? Answer is no. What it is trying to do is to evade that particular question and says that there could be fraternity without addressing equality, which is never possible, even if you go to the French Revolution and all of that. You need to have equality in order to achieve substantive fraternity. You cannot have substantive fraternity unless human beings treat each other or they have got equal rights and all of it, a part of it. Last one line is this, the question of representation. We live at a time when we have a person of Indian heritage, Hindu heritage, served as the Prime Minister of Britain. We have a person of Hindu heritage, almost came close to becoming the President of America. Right? We have one who is holding a significant position, Anita, in Canada, where Indians are immigrants, and now we have the new rock star of Democratic Party, Joran Mamdani, and all of it. So all these people have been there for the last, say, 50 years, 70 years, 100 years. They have found space to represent and stand for and all of it. Here, Muslim community are here for thousands of years. A large number of them obviously came from Hindu stock. And this is neither shameful nor disgraceful, because if you examine, Islam happens to be the youngest Abrahamic religion, along with Judaism and Christianity. And almost every Muslim, including Prophet, was something else before they embraced Islam. So it's not something that is a unique Indian phenomenon. Right? They were Christians, they were Jews, or there was something else a part of it. So here, Muslim cannot be the MLA or MP. That has been the deliberate strategy of a particular political party that you know all of. Now, why representation matters? The argument is that all these minorities are nice and happy here because we are nice people, and for thousands of years they've been living here. There is a mosque standing in Kerala for 1,000 years. We are nice people. Why do you need rights? Why do you want to represent yourself? We know your problem. The argument is very similar to what generally you hear from people who advocate for patriarchy. My mother is a woman, my wife is a woman, my sister is a woman. So I know a woman's rights, so why the hell that women should come and do this part of it, right? So we know that from American Revolution that taxation without representation is colonialism, right? So what is, in certain sense, is unfolding is an attempt to colonize the whole community in a very sophisticated manner by denying them political voice, by denying them representation. Thank you.